Welcome to East by West Farms. Here we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Today I'm going to build the second part of the outdoor kitchen, which is the clay workstation on top of that small stand that Chris built in part one. First, I need to harvest some clay and then use the clay to build the workstation. I'm going to harvest the clay along this swale that Chris has been digging. Here we have the Houston black clay that is very dense and very sticky. It's good for building the oven because when it dries, it's almost like concrete. But it's very hard to dig. So that's what the clay looks like. We're going to have a black workstation, which is good, so you cannot see the smoke because the black, just like the clay. The clay is very heavy. I would think it's like 100% clay, which is good, but when you need some strength, you need to mix in some sand. So I will explain that as we build the stove up. That's where I'm going to build up for the stove. And I have the 5-gallon bucket and then the wok on top of it. I will just put clay around the bucket and then build up from here. I will have 6 inches of ash and then about 9 inches for the opening for the wood, and then above it there will be the rocket stove and the wok. So it probably will be about this tall. It's a wood burning stove. There are 2 reasons, of course. One is we have a mesquite tree over here. We can harvest that for as energy for cooking, and also we can save the ash, the biochar, for gardening. So it's kind of a bit serving 2 purposes. Why we want a wood burning stove. When you set up wood burning stove, you need to be aware of where the wind, the prevailing wind of your location. Most of the time we have wind come from the south, so that means your opening need to be facing the prevailing wind, in our case is south, so that the wind blows and the smoke come out over here. Ideally, we should have probably have a chimney to direct the smoke out of the barn area and blow it that way, so that the wind doesn't blow the smoke toward me. If you build a rocket stove, supposedly it's very efficient so that you don't have much smoke. We have to change our plan a little bit because of the direction. So we were going to have the counter go this way and then the sink. So basically we'll have an L-shaped kitchen. Before I start building the clay, I need to mark out a few things. So first thing is, of course, I need to find the center of the board. So I will kind of center the wok. You think this is center enough? Right?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah,
center.
center. All right, and then now I need the bucket. So almost concentric. Okay, so that will be the combustion chamber. So I guess I can nail it over here. Okay, and nail here. Okay, and that's probably good enough. So I know the center line. The first layer I will need to build is an insulation layer. Clay is a very good insulation material, so 1 inch thick clay will be enough for the insulation. Man, the clay here, of course, is very heavy clay, which is good for this. And basically, I'm just grab it and then smack it done. It's kind of kneading the dough. I mean, of course, we can make the edge a little bit better and all that. That's something we can do later. I finished building the second layer, which is the layer for the air inlet and also the chamber for collecting the ash. And so what I need is put this grate over here. The fire, basically that's where the fire is burning, so the air comes from the bottom and pushed up. So I need to build a chamber around it, this much tall, and then the wok will sit on top of it. I was able to finish half of the clay, the WokStation last weekend. I think today I can probably finish the whole thing. And it's also good to build it in 2 different weekends because that allow the clay to dry out somewhat, and you see lots of cracks. That's normal for the as the clay dry, it will crack because it expand and contract as it dries. So I can come back and fill in those cracks and put the outer shell, and I need to build up a little higher as well. So here now is a good time to show what the clay, the WokStation look like. You have an inner ring and that is the combustion chamber. So the wood come in from that end and get burned over here. Surrounding this inner ring, there's another post-combustion chamber. The heat come up, go out through the wok, and then get sucked into this post-combustion chamber. So continue burning. The longer the pass, the more efficient the stove will be. It come into this post-combustion chamber and then get sucked out through the exhaust over here and then come out. This is the front of the stove. Over here is where the wood come in, and I have a grit from the old barbecue grill that I put there as to support the wood. I also put 2 rebars to extend so that the wood can rest over here. The bottom is the ash chamber. The ash fall into it. I have a layer of clay to insulate the stand from the ash. You can see the clay here have huge cracks as it dries. So I will fill this crack with some soft mud and let it dry again, and that should fix it. The wok will sit over here. To support the bridge, I put a few rebar underneath it and then build the clay on top of that. I got the idea from watching some videos about how in the Chinese countryside, they build the WokStation. The one that I grew up with doesn't have the inner chamber. That's a kind of an improved version to take advantage of the rocket stove design. I'm building up the inner chamber. I need to have about another 6 inches or so of height. I kind of built it the same way for last time, and it turns out to be very nice. So I think the process works. I got the main function of the WokStation done, and I have the WokStation set up. The height is adjusted to my height. The next step is to build the chimney in the back, and then, of course, make the side wall and the front wall. At this point, actually, the WokStation is functional. For the sidewall, obviously, right now it look like a little bit lopsided. What I will need is basically just put mud and have a vertical wall. And because it's outside and it has kind of like a structure stability or containment, I will put some hay in the mud and then build it up from here. Here is the exhaust of the post-combustion chamber. What I will need to do is build up the clay part over here and then have an opening going out like that. The air can come around and get going that way. Well, it's getting dark, and I think I'm going to stop here. I got the clay workstation set up pretty well. The remaining part is to, of course, straighten out the side walls and make the surface level and smooth. It's a good idea to stop now, let the clay dry out somewhat. Next weekend, I'll come in and fill in the cracks and then finish the final touch of the workstation. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please give us a thumb up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button to follow our journey with the East by West Wok.